everyone, this is wthelotus. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, hasn't it? I'm so sorry. But that's what happens. Life goes ahead and lifes, and making content for my YouTube channel has to go on the back burner. But I am back today. And that's what matters. Today, I am walking you through the speed build of the CynicalNina Cynical Shell 25. This is a shell that was created by CynicalNina. She is on social media as CynicalNina, and I will link to her socials down below in the description. I had a lot of fun with this. First of all, because I like Nina a lot. She's really cool. I enjoy her streams. Second of all, I love building. As you know, if you have been on this channel for any amount of time. And third of all, because it challenged me just a little bit. I wanted to do something different with like the entrance. I didn't want to do everything exactly the way I normally do things. And I also wanted to make sure that this has a nice country type vibe. I don't know, there was something about the shape of this shell that really said country to me. So in my head, I had pictured a house with a backyard swimming pool, some gardening space on the outside, kind of wooded type area, and that is what I was able to do in this build. So right now I'm working on the backyard. I think I did the most of the outside before I even got into the inside, which is backwards for me. Normally when I do builds, I start on the inside and do that, furnish everything, come up with your floor plan and furnish everything, and then the outside is kind of like an afterthought. But I wanted to have a nice backyard swimming pool and grilling space. And that was really what was in my mind, even more so than what the inside would look like. So the very first thing I did was um, come up with the backyard in-ground swimming pool and, make that nice patio space. And I believe I added a little bit more to it later. We'll see later on in the build, but that was the first thing on my mind, so that's what I started with. I could honestly live in a house like this. I would love to live in a house like this. Maybe someday I will. Right now I'm doing New York City apartment living, so a woman can dream though. So I ended up making a little bathroom downstairs. Let me see if I think there were three bathrooms to this house. I'm pretty sure I ended up with two bathrooms upstairs and a bathroom downstairs. The house actually, when I looked at the shell in the beginning, it seemed like it would be huge, but for what I had in mind for the house, it ended up actually feeling a lot smaller and not cramped, but more homey than I originally assumed it was feel it would feel. And that's always a pleasant surprise. Um, I didn't struggle to furnish the house because with the number of rooms that I ended up putting in it, it did end up being a lot smaller. So here I have what turns out to be an open kitchen with an island and a small living room. So this is where I started realizing the shell is actually smaller than I thought it was. And with builds like this, more often than I realized, I do find myself in this position, at least when I'm doing other people's shells. When I'm doing my own build from the ground up, then, I can just pull a wall out here, add a bay window there to make things more spacious. But with a build like this, with a shell challenge, the overarching rule is you do not change any of the outside walls ever under any circumstances. I mean, if not changing the walls is going to make it not fun for you, then go ahead and change the walls and stuff. But if you are wanting to share the shell with the creator and follow all of their rules, then you don't change the outside walls. And that's why I like doing these kind of challenges, because it forces me to work within the constraints of the shell, as opposed to being able to, we're just going to go ahead and add a room here. We're going to bump some walls out. Nope, you can't do that. It's a shell challenge. So I did my best to still fulfill the vision that I had of a spacious enough kitchen to work in, as well as a living space that would feel comfortable and wouldn't feel cramped. And that's the main reason why I decided to put an island for the kitchen, because the island gives you that additional seating space that you otherwise wouldn't have because the living area is so small. So I first started out, I think, with two love seats, but I decided against that. And by using one love seat and two living chairs, you're able to get more seating, but you have more flexibility, of course, in terms of being able to move things around to where you want or need them to be. So after I finished the kitchen and the living area, then I was able to move my focus to the entryway. Sometimes you end up in these builds, I'll end up with the entryway going right into the living room, but because of the way the walls were situated and where I put the kitchen, it would have been difficult to do that, to have the and still have a TV up on the wall. So I left the foyer area open instead of having that really be a formal part of the living room, and put some decorative items in the living room area, to make it more comfy and cozy. There's a basket of blankets there next to the chairs and next to the love seat. And I think I squeezed a little magazine rack and TV remote rack in there next to the stand, where underneath the wall mounted TV. And then for the back, I wanted to make it kind of like a little mudroom. It's not completely closed in, but I wanted to be there, space there for like hanging up your sweater, and maybe if you had your flip flops when you were out at the pool and you want to leave them by the door instead of tracking the flip flops into the house. Because I don't know about you, but in our home in real life, we don't wear our outside shoes in the house. And so I wanted to have a space there where they could take off their shoes, whatever shoes they had worn in the backyard, and leave them there in the little mudroom area. So when we moved to the upstairs, I wanted to add a little patio. And the shape of the roof here was really, really odd. So I was able to add some outdoor patio space, and it's different from what I would normally do, just because of the odd shape of the roofing. So I was like, okay, I could struggle with figuring out how to do roofing for this, or I can squeeze in some patio space and some tiny balconies just to take advantage of the outdoor space and the strange shape the strange shape that the roofing would have been. So I did add a second patio on the outside. So there's one that leads from the upstairs hallway in the front of the house. It's a small balcony. And then this one comes out of what is the main bedroom, I believe. And it goes out onto a very small balcony, just big enough to like maybe put a chair out there. You can sit out there with your coffee or sit out there with a magazine. Here I was trying, I don't know why it's so difficult, but I was trying to add that space where you can basically look over the railing from upstairs and see downstairs into it. And the way the game works, it makes it very difficult to do that easily. But I finally did manage to get the house so that you can look straight down over the rail into the downstairs area. You don't have that, little corner there where there's railing and there's floor space, but not really there, so you don't know how to make it usable. Yeah, I just got rid of all that. So you can look over the railing now and look down into the downstairs and see somebody coming up the stairs if you want to. This is the upstairs patio space on the front of the house. So there's a nice living chair there. I think I also added some flowers, either some flowers or an easel. But I do believe I put something else out there other than just a living chair. But I made it a nice little outdoor space off of the front of the house. You can sit and watch the woods. I think the lot that I built this in was in Brindleton Bay. So it's a very wooded area. You're not going to have a lot of foot traffic or a lot of vehicular traffic. So you can just sit out there and enjoy nature. This is the main upstairs bathroom. I want to see real quick. I hope that I show um, show what the upstairs layout ended up looking like. But this bathroom is accessible from the second floor. Actually, I think this was the only bathroom I was able to fit on the second floor. Yeah, it was. So there are two bedrooms upstairs. Um, and the main bedroom does not have an ensuite bathroom. There just wasn't enough space. Like I said, the shell turned out being smaller than I envisioned it was. So what I ended up doing was making two bedrooms and one bathroom upstairs. And then there's a bathroom downstairs. So it's two beds, two baths. Both of them are full baths. The upstairs bath has a tub, but not a shower. So if you do end up having playing with a household with toddlers, then you are able to bathe your toddlers. And I believe the downstairs bathroom has a shower but not a tub. So you can have your child, teen, and adult Sims take showers downstairs because we know showers are a lot faster than baths. But you can play on this lot with toddlers because there is a bathtub upstairs. The second bedroom I made into a child's room. So there's a little twin bed, just enough space to squeeze an activity table and a doctor's playset in there. And then in the smaller of the two little windowed nooks, I put a dresser so that, they have somewhere to keep their clothes. I did play test the lot and it is playable. I had to move some stuff around just a little bit in the child's room because originally the way I had placed the bed, the child was not able to get in and actually use the activity table. It looked like enough space, but the way the Sims routes things, they weren't actually able to get all the way into the room. I was able to fix that by pushing the bed just a little bit into the wall, not enough so that it comes through the wall on the outside, but just enough that there is a clear walkway and the game is able to route the sim going in and actually using the activity table and using the doctor's set, as well as getting in and out of the bed and accessing the dresser in the other little alcove there. I worked quite a bit on the roofing because of the shape of the house. I did have to use a little bit of creativity to come up with a roof that I liked. And I was able to do it in the long run. I'm very proud of myself. I used to struggle a lot with roofs, and I do still struggle sometimes with them. Not nearly as much though. Now I've been playing the game for a little bit more than 2 years, and I've watched other simmers and how they build their roofs, and that has helped me get a lot more comfortable with figuring out roofing. I mean, even when you saw the roofing I did, um, over the first floor, the part of the roof that I didn't use for second floor balconies. I was able to come up with some really nice roofing details for that part of the house, and I'm really happy with how my roofing ability has developed over these past couple of years. I'm not nearly as intimidated by roofs as I was when I first started. And thank goodness, because from what I understand, in earlier Sims games, there was an auto roofing option. We do not have that in The Sims 4. I don't know if the team plans to add it at some point. I have heard Simmers say, we really, really need auto roofing in The Sims 4. And I would agree, because that would make coming up with roofs a lot easier. But for now, we're on our own. And I'm really happy with how my skills have developed in that department. So once I finished on the inside, I went back to the outside and started really fleshing out the landscaping. Here, I had not yet added the garden that I eventually do add, but I had started on my vision of what a gardening space and what the outdoor space would look like. Added a few more seats to the swimming pool area and a nice umbrella. I chose bold colors. Red is one of my favorite colors, so of course I wanted to work that into the build, and I think I did a good job with it. It's not overwhelming, but it adds just enough of a pop to make the backyard not look boring. It can be very easy for me to get into this very bland brown and beige type coloring, especially when I'm dealing with a patio space and a swimming pool. But the red awnings really makes that area look inviting. And then I made sure to add lighting as well, so that when my Sims are out there at nighttime, they have adequate light and they won't be snatched by the boogeyman hiding in the darkness because Wanda forgot to add lighting for the back patio. I also had a lot of fun with landscaping. I've discovered over the past couple of years of playing the game and building in the game that landscaping with the kind of detail that I like to see in my builds takes a lot of patience. And it's not because landscaping is hard, it's just because I have to actually take the time to go through the various options and put in that detail. So when I first started, I might not have taken the time to do a lot of like undergrowth with the trees or add terrain paint or like you see here, fill in an empty space with some rocks and some extra flowers and whatnot. Now I actually enjoy taking the time to do that. And it makes my builds more enjoyable to look at and also to take screenshots of. I love to be able to take screenshots now of my builds because I'm really proud of the landscaping that I do with them. So I'm real particular about, so even here, adding little details like the terrain paint instead of just slapping the garbage can there like I would have done a couple of years ago when I first started. Now I add some details, maybe some cobblestones or, just finding something to do with the terrain paint here with sizing up and sizing down some of the same plants, rotating trees so it doesn't look like I just copy and pasted the same tree over and over in a row. It really makes the outside of the build look a lot more interesting and look a lot more realistic. I mean, in real life, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have this what looks like copy and pasted trees growing in a row all in a yard. Now, sometimes you will. If you have a gardener that has a very specific vision in mind and they'll plant their trees and they'll prune them and trim them in a way that will make them look very uniform. But your average person isn't going to do that. This is one of the first builds also that I experimented with things like wisteria growing off of the porch railing and ivy growing up the side of the house. It really adds to that whole country type effect. Because the house is out there in the woods, and more than likely it's going to have some ivy. It doesn't hide the house per se. I was going to say it makes a way to make the house kind of look hidden in the woods, but I wasn't trying to hide the house. I was making the house look like a part of its environment. And by adding that little bit of ivy and the wisteria hanging off the front porch, it just really enhances that country feel, and that the house truly is a part of the natural environment that it's in. It wasn't just slapped down there in the middle of a clearing. Now, anyone who has seen the way some real life modern developments are done, then yes, a lot of them will look like they were just slapped down in the middle of a clearing somewhere, because that's what a lot of developers do. But this is not a real life developer. This is me wanting to make a pretty house in Sims. So here are the screenshots, and I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I believe I have this in the gallery named CynicalNina, CynicalShell25. Not exactly sure, but my EA ID is wthelotus. I'll put all of the details down in the description so that if you want to download this and play in it, and I hope you do, you'll be able to find it. It's a really, really cute build, and it would be wonderful for a single family, a single parent with a child, or a family just starting out. I hope you enjoyed this speed build. I know I enjoyed making it and talking about it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.